Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. This is the iGold Advisor channel, and let us have a gold and silver price update. It is June 11th, 2022. Now, one of the things that I try to remember is that in this industry, not everyone approaches this at the same time. Some people are brand new to the precious metals, which is great. There's a lot to learn, but it can be grasped. Some people have been doing this for 20 or 30 years, right? And that's awesome as well because you know the ins and out of it. So what I want to do this week is actually a special thing that we only do about once per year for those people who are new to this industry and would like to have a sneak peek at the in-depth analysis and research that we publish in our premium service. You can do so for 2 weeks just for $1. You must use the link below, and it'll take you right to the webpage. You can sign up. This is 2 weeks for $1. The normal rate is almost $800 per year. There are no gimmicks to this. Trust me, I don't care about the $1. The only reason I do that is because the credit card companies make us at least do a nominal charge to register people. But you do that for $1 for 2 full weeks of access. You can get access to everything we've ever published, including all of our picks, and you're going to see why I think that is so important. As I said, no gimmicks. If you don't want to continue after the 2 weeks, just let us know within 2 business days of the end of the 2 weeks so we have time to cancel it. Otherwise, we would be happy to have you guys stay for the full year of the service. Either way, I'm happy to have you try it out and see what's going on, because look at what is happening. We are seeing 41-year high inflation going all the way back to 1981. These are the CPI figures that were released today by the Labor Department here in the United States. And so what I want to do is explain to you, if you're new, why this is so important, what we saw today in the precious metals. For the last year and a half, every time we've seen high inflation figures, we have seen the precious metals ironically sell off, basically move lower on the days where there's high inflation figures. And the reasoning for this is because the sum of the market was convinced that if there was high inflation, it means the Federal Reserve is going to act to lower inflation, and therefore high inflation actually means low inflation, and therefore sell your precious metals. So high inflation was having the opposite effect that we would have thought on the markets. And so if you've been in the precious metals for the last year and a half, you've been getting punished, even though we've been seeing this 40-plus year high inflation. Now, today, something very different happened. This is really important. And if you understand the long-term ramifications here of how the Fed could actually lose control of inflation, remember, the Fed is a reactive institution. They are not proactive. They look in the rearview mirror and they say, hey, there's high inflation, so let's act to do things. And oftentimes they are wrong. Remember, 2 years ago, they were saying there was going to be no inflation. 1 year ago, they were saying the inflation is going to be transitory. Now they're saying it's actually going to be extended, but eventually we'll get it lower. So they keep changing their story. If you think, what if the Fed actually loses control of inflation? And this appears to be what the precious metals markets were signaling today, that we no longer believe that the Federal Reserve is actually going to be able to contain this inflation, and therefore on the high inflation, let's buy gold. And let's see how silver did. Same thing. Now on the 1-day move, this looks like, oh, well, we only closed, 23 cents above the close from yesterday. Yes, but this was a bullish engulfing day here where you see a new low followed by a bullish engulfing daily move and closing above the high from the previous close. So bullish price action, whether we're looking at gold was especially bullish. And typically in the early part of the moves, if you're new to the precious metals, remember this, gold tends to move first. and silver lags, and silver frustrates people for sometimes many months, sometimes even a couple years. But when it moves, silver is like gold on steroids, and it plays catch up. Now let's look across the world here and see what happened today on this 41-year high inflation. Look, precious metals complex outperforming, and the gold miners and the silver miners leveraging the gains in the precious metals. Keep this in mind. So in sum, the precious metals complex led today. US dollar had marginal buying as sort of a safe haven versus other currencies. Why? Because everything else sold off. Look, including Bitcoin. Guys, the last video that I published, the title was Gold versus Bitcoin. And the takeaway on that was we had strong evidence to believe that gold was getting ready to strongly outperform Bitcoin. And this looks like it's just the very beginning. So if you are new to precious metals and you're saying, well, gold is a little bit boring, maybe gold is only going to move. Let's look at an example. Let's say gold goes back to its 2020 peak. And you're saying, well, that's only a 10% move in physical gold. Yes, it is. First of all, certainly it's a lot better than losing money in Bitcoin or stocks, which we think gold is going to do. It's going to outperform. But then let's say you're used to the crypto gains and you're saying, well, I don't want something that's only going to move 10% higher. I'm making this video for you, and this is why I'm offering a sneak peek, $1 for 2 weeks trial of our premium service. I want to show you where the value is if you are looking at this sector and saying, I want to try to have life-altering gains amidst what would be a modest gain in the physical metal. For full disclosure, this is a company that we own. We've owned this company for a number of years, called Spanish Mountain Gold. Now, Spanish Mountain Gold trades in Canada under the ticker SPA, and in the US, SPAZF. And this is a company that has almost 4.8 million ounces of gold sitting in the ground in a politically safe jurisdiction up in British Columbia, Canada. Very safe, very secure. And what has happened here is that as the sentiment for gold has basically just languished, so you can see gold from its peak down, 10%, right? 10% over the last year and 9 months. So it's been uninspiring. Remember the price action we've been talking about, that over the last year and a half, anytime we would see the high inflation, we would see gold sell off and get smashed down. Yes, there's manipulation, but also it was the psychology of the market that high inflation was going to lead to low inflation, and so therefore gold was really stagnant. And the ironic thing is that when gold is stagnant, the companies that are just sitting on a mountain of gold, literally almost 5 million ounces of gold in the ground in the measured and indicated categories for this company, what you see is that these companies really languish. And I will tell you, this is a company that I know extremely well. I've researched this company for many years. And literally, listen to my words here, literally nothing has changed about this company, Spanish Mountain Gold, other than they've actually increased the amount of gold that they have in the ground. 2 years ago, they had 4.1 million ounces. Now they're almost approaching 4.8 million ounces. The only reason why this company is down 75% is that the sentiment in the gold sector got about as bad as it has been over the last 10 years, here just over the last year and a half. About the worst sentiment that we've seen. And so precious metals investors as a sum were saying, hey, gold is just going to stagnate forever. I'm not interested, therefore sell my Spanish Mountain Gold. And you had, amidst a 10% fall in gold, you had a 75% fall in Spanish Mountain Gold. Now, here's where it gets exciting. If you say that gold is going to rise, let's just say be modest, 10%, to get back to its all-time high. Okay, you can see right here, 10%. And if this company has not gotten any worse than it was back here, which I know for a fact they have not, There has been zero dilution of shares. They have added gold to the bottom line, and they have de-risked the entire project. So this is a better company than it was back here. Then the simple math is that if a company has fallen by 75%, it is a 4x return just to get back to where it was almost 2 years ago. And this is what I believe is going to happen. And if you're telling me, oh, this can't happen, this is impossible, right? Because these are like more like crypto gains, for something to go 4x higher in a short period of time. Just let's rewind the chart back here to 2 months before what we were just looking at. Look at what happened in the move in mid-2020 when Spanish Mountain Gold rose by 22% from the low here in June of 2020. It rose by 22% in 2 months for the price of bullion. Spanish Mountain Gold rose 550%. I'm not lying. This is what happened to this company amidst a 22% rise in gold. So fast forward to the present, you're telling me you don't think this can happen again, a 10% move and a 4x move in a company that's gotten even better than it was 2 years ago? You better believe this can happen again, and this is why I own shares in this company and why I expect to make a small fortune in this as well as some of the other companies that we own. So what I've done here is, in case you're not interested in downloading the full research report for the $1, I've given you something for absolutely free. No cost. This is a company that I believe is going to have roughly a 4x return just for gold to get back to where it was a year and a half ago. And then if gold goes higher, if gold goes to 2,200 or 2,500 or 3,000, you start multiplying it out there, okay? That I gave you for free. I believe that will happen, but remember, it'll be very volatile in both directions. This is designed for people that are new to the sector that want to try to achieve life-altering gains here amidst what are going to be rather reasonable gains in the underlying bullion. This is what has happened. The disconnect has gotten so great. Now, if you want to learn about our other undervalued picks, because right now we own 5 separate companies. Spanish Mountain is one, and we will be looking to increase that to 10 companies over the coming months. Sign up for $1 for 2 weeks, and you can get access to all of our undervalued picks. As I said, this will only be available for the next 3 days. We're closing this offer on Monday. This is a special Saturday broadcast because I think this time is so important. I think gold is actually closer to a bottom than it has been here over the last year or two. The psychology shift that we saw today was so important, seeing gold rise on the high inflation. Now, what I'm not going to give you away for free here, you're going to have to sign up for the trial to see this analysis, is we have just published, and you can sign up right now and watch the video for that $1 to get you access. We have just published our roadmap for when silver should be hitting $50 per ounce. So if you think gold is going to go higher, then you have to look at the long-term analysis for silver and say at some point here over the next several years, silver is going to play catch up to gold, and it's going to go to at least $50 an ounce where it was at the previous peaks. And we have just published when we expect silver to be doing this. It was about a 30-minute segment in the last premium member video. You can get access to it for that $1, and then I hope you'll stick around to enjoy the research and the stock picks that are going to be coming over the next few months. Not everything will be released here over the next 2 weeks. We have 4 positions still to fill, and those will be new gold and silver miners that are going to be like Spanish Mountain Gold. So get access to it, guys. As I said, I know some of you have been around here for many years, and I think if you're able to wait here a few more months, it's really going to pay off. This is the potential. You can see it right in front of us. The psychology has shifted. Now, one day does not necessarily make a new trend, but it certainly is starting to move in that direction. You can see that. So if you've been here, hang on. But what I want to tell you is that if you are new to this sector, this is the time to sign up to get access to everything that we publish. I'm making this offer available until Monday, June 13th. We only open this about once per year. And there are people that are new to this sector, and I want you to understand the leverage effect that happens when we're talking about these gold miners. And what happens is that they get sold off for no logical reason. Irrational selling happens, and that presents the opportunity that is right here ahead of us. When you look at a company like Spanish Mountain Gold, which is one of the 10 companies that we are going to own in our portfolio, and you look at that company, it could go 4x higher just to get back to where it was. And I told you, we've done the research, and there has been no dilution in that company's shares. Furthermore, they have increased the amount of gold that they own. You look at that set of facts and you say, my goodness, I mean, if we're right on gold going back to where it was, this is like a home run pitch that you're being given here. But you have to seize the opportunities when they are ahead of you. Because once gold is above 2,075 per ounce, and Spanish Mountain Gold is already revalued, unfortunately what's going to happen is that's when the majority of the people are going to come piling in. And I'm going to have a different message then, which is going to be, hey guys, it's time that we actually take some of our profits off the table. Most people are not going to want to hear that at that time. If you're listening now, you're one of the few people that is actually paying attention to this while the historic undervaluation is still in front of us. Take advantage of this, guys. If you are a higher net worth investor and you're saying, hey, Chris, a 4x return would be great, but I want to try to even double that return. I want even more leverage. The service for you is called Elite Private Placements. And what we do is we negotiate with companies like Spanish Mountain Gold and other companies. We did this exactly 2 years ago with Spanish Mountain. And we negotiated terms so that higher net worth investors could get access to shares. We bought shares at 10 cents per share back in 2020. That we could get access to preferred rates on the investments, which include free warrants, which get you nearly 2 times the upside of simply buying the shares because you get those warrants for free. So no additional cost. And then you're almost doubling the upside of the open market purchases, which can be life-altering in themselves when this thesis plays out. Remember, you also get a free subscription to Precious Metals Intelligence Plus if you join us in Elite. You get that for as long as you remain an Elite member. So I hope to have you join us for either one of the two services. Last but not least, remember, if you would just like to sit down, if you're new, as I said, sometimes I produce videos that are more advanced topics, more advanced technical analysis. Other times, I want to really appreciate the fact that we are probably going to have a bunch of new investors starting to pay attention to gold now. Given the reaction of gold today, where you saw Bitcoin sell off, you saw the stock market sell off, you saw oil sell off, yet gold and silver and the gold and silver miners were the only thing higher, we could be having a lot of new people come into this sector. And so I want to make some videos for you too. And then within the next few weeks, we'll be producing some videos that get into some more advanced technical analysis topics. Remember, though, you can always reach me on the Consultations tab if you would like to sit down and speak one-to-one, just like we're talking here in this video, but we can tailor the analysis and the recommendations for your independent perspective for where you are right now. So this is a very exciting time, guys. You look at that reaction. I mean, you tell me what you think. You look at that one-day reaction, right? Everything sold off except the precious metals complex. That is bullish, bullish, bullish. And I think this sector did exactly what it needed to do over the last year and a half, which is to convince most people that gold was never going to move higher again, even with the high inflation. And it has shown us something new today. This is big. Take advantage of it. See you in the member video on Monday morning.